Susan was 8 years old when she was in her home in Australia near the woods. She was happy living there until one day herself and her parents were terrified in their own house where there was a huge bushfire out of control outside all around the area they lived. Miles and miles of land went up in flames, and she had to go down to a bunker they were lucky enough to have had. Her dad was a doomsday extremist and had built it into an old mine just in case the end of the world was to come. It wasn't the end of the world exactly, but Susan felt like it was. Even as an adult, when she lived in her own house, she had a huge fear of leaving her house. She used to be in her living room from day to night, and other times up in her bedroom looking out the window watching the world go by. One day she got the courage to finally leave her house. As she walked out the door, she jumped with fear. As she was crossing the road, a truck came straight for her. She screamed, but the truck wasn't even near her, but she thought it was going straight for her. She wondered should she go back into her house, but decided to walk down the footpath. She was petrified the more she walked, but she walked on. She knew she had to get out of her irrational fear of going outside. Just another few minutes, and she will be back safe in her home. She walked on for about 10 minutes, and when she was walking back, she could hear sirens. They reminded her of the bushfires. She knew she was getting a flashback. There were 2 fire brigades went flying past her. She was really looking forward to get back into her house. The fear was building up inside her more and more as she got to her driveway. She froze in fear as she could see her house was engulfed in flames. She was trying to figure out how her house had caught fire. She was terrified of being left outside. She was shaking with fear, wondering how could she stay outside and where else could she go. A few weeks later, she was in a therapist's office. She was explaining to her what had happened long ago in the bushfires. When her therapist went out of the room for a minute to get some water for herself and Susan, Susan went into a daze. She got out a bottle of gasoline from her bag and poured it around the room and took out a lighter and lit it. She walked out of the room and missed her therapist, who was down the other side of the hall. When she was walking away, she snapped out of her daze and could smell fire and ran. Susan didn't know what she had done, just like she didn't realise what she had done the day her house went on fire, and just like the day when she was an 8-year-old little girl setting the gorse fire to cause a huge bushfire that killed so much wildlife and so many people. The footpath. Thanks for watching The Assassin Rapper, and if you want to stay up to date on new content, then please subscribe and be sure to hit the bell to be notified on new content.